Hello, and today I would like to talk to you about how to get your horse to stop. So I think I learnt the most when I started horses under saddle, when I started starting horses under saddle. I learnt the most about how to train a horse from then, because you take a horse that has no understanding of what anything means, and you need to find the way to explain to the horse what you'd like him to do. So no horse is born with a manual that tells him what he should do when you do what, okay? So that's the one thing I really want you to keep in mind when you're thinking about training your horse, that they have no understanding in the beginning, and if you're having problems stopping your horse, then you obviously have some sort of communication error. So stopping a horse under saddle actually starts in the round yard when I'm starting a young horse. So you actually teach them to stop going around the round yard using your body language, okay? So I'll step in front of the horse and he'll usually flip and turn direction, change direction. And eventually I work around getting that to be so that he faces me and stops. And it's all to do with pressure and release. I put the pressure on, and when he does what I want him to do, I take the pressure off. And in the round yard, that can be as simple as he spins towards me or away from me in the beginning, because most horses will turn away from you. I will take a step back or take my body away from the horse, because it works on body pressure.
So here you'll see some footage of Rebel in the very beginning of his starting under saddle journey. I'm just moving him around the round yard with my body here, and then you'll see in a minute that I take a step backwards. He must flick an ear or something at me, I can't see it, and then he turns in, and it's just coming up now. Watch me there. I turn, I take a step backwards, turn sideways, and he comes in. That's part of teaching stop.
So once he's learnt to sort of stop and face me with body pressure, we go on and do other things, but we're just working on how to teach the horse to stop today. And my hope is by understanding the process, you actually get some understanding on what's going wrong if you can't stop your horse, and then how to correct it. So that is the aim of this video today. When I'm turning the horse in the round yard with my body pressure, I also use the word whoa, and I use a downward tone with it. That helps the horse to understand and gives an extra aid, that you're going to use under saddle, because once you get in the saddle, he's not going to understand what you want him to do. So you need to get some building blocks happening. So once he's done that, I teach the horse to stop with a bending on a halter. So I pick up the rope of the halter and bend the horse. I've done some groundwork videos. Go and look for that playlist, and you'll find in there where I'm teaching a horse to give to the pressure of the halter, okay? And then you learn to pick up, once you get onto the horse, you learn to pick up the rein, and the horse should bend. If you do this to your horse and he moves his feet, I can tell you right now that he doesn't understand that the rein pressure is just for bending here. It's not a go forward aid. The amount of horses that you pick a rein up on, I've got no other aid on my horse, and he walks off, is unbelievable. If he does that, what you need to do is make sure you have a nice short rein. Take your rein to your back pocket, not in front of the saddle. That's how you tip a horse over. To your back pocket. Make sure you're not squeezing with your legs, and just sit there whilst he goes round and round and round and round and round in circles. And the minute 4 feet stop, let go of the rein. Eventually you want to actually wait until he gives you a soft feel on the rein, but that's teaching your horse two things at once. In the beginning, he needs to understand you want him to stop, and then you want, he was leaning on that then you want them to stop with a soft feel. So that's how that starts under saddle. Then when I want to teach my horse to rein stop in the round yard, I start driving them, and I will put pressure on both reins, and the minute he starts to slow down in the beginning, I might release the pressure. Horses all learn a little differently. If I'm having trouble getting him to understand that, I'll actually drive him directly at the fence and put the reins on as in stop, and the minute he comes into the fence he has to stop because he can't walk any further, then I let go of the reins. Teaching a horse to stop is actually quite a simple process, but it requires us as the rider and trainer to be patient, to be kind, and to be methodical in the way that we train our horses. And that is from the day dot forward. So your horse never got the memo, trust me. He did not get the memo that said when the rider pulls on both reins, he needs to stop. So once I get in the saddle, in the round yard, usually on the green horse, it all starts at the beginning, okay? So the horse has no understanding when I'm on his back what I want him to do. So I always start with the one rein stop. So remember, I bend him, your hand goes to your back pocket and he should stop. If he starts to move, you just got to sit there and wait for him to stop before you release the pressure. Sorry, Rebel. All right, so it starts at. Now, I always want to keep my one rein stop on my horses. It has actually saved my butt so many times on young horses from bolting or bucking or doing things that they do just because that's what a horse does. So I always want to keep my one rein stop. I don't use it very often once they get a little bit further down the track, but it is there. And trust me, with Rebel, at his first couple of competitions, he got very hot and excited that there were lots of horses around him, and I actually had to use my one rein stop a couple of times in the warm-up. He's not feeling very excited about work today. So I'd love for you to let me know in the comments if your horse has a one rein stop, and if it doesn't, are you going to go and teach it? So how you teach it, once that you can do it from the standstill, is I shorten my rein and I will go like this and sit back. He will stop. Sorry, he is trained to do this, but a green horse will usually just go round and round and round in circles, and so you teach that the way I showed you. So with my one rein stop, I will add my voice aid in the early days. So if you're having problems stopping your horse, I would start with all of this. Whoa. I mean, I don't need to do it with Rebel because he will stop. Good boy. And then eventually you want to drop your voice aid off and use just your rein aids. I'm also adding my seat aid to the stop. So if one can actually, I'll show you how it works here. If one can just zoom in on just this area here, you'll see that as he walks, it's just going with him. If I just stop it going with him, he stops, no rein aid. Now that's taught, that's a taught aid. Horses didn't get that memo either, okay? So you have to teach them, and you do it by association. So in the beginning, my hips are going, I use my rein aid, whoa, voice, and I stop my pelvis following him. Horses are really smart. They put things together so easily. Use all three in the beginning, and you drop one off, usually your voice, and then eventually I want to use drop my rein aids off so that eventually it'll look like you just saw there. I'll walk him up into a bit more of a contact so that you can see he's not properly warmed up, but if Wayne can just stay there, and I'll just stop my pelvis, and he's leaning on my reins, so you just got to see what happens when I hope you saw that. I just closed my ring finger tightly on the rein then and set my core so he hit a brick wall. I didn't pull, but when he gave, it was given, because he was very rude then. So we'll do that again, because I don't like my horses being rude into the contact. So I'll walk him on, I'll ask him, it's probably a bit that was better, good boy. So I closed my outside ring finger and stopped my pelvis from moving, and that got my horse to come to hold. see if we can do a trot. He hasn't actually warmed up, so you're seeing him a bit strung out, but that's okay. So when it comes to from trot to walk, I'm just going to sit, and now I'm going to stop my pelvis, and he halted. So all I really did then was use my seat. I didn't really use my reins. But you need to do whatever you can do if your horse is taking off on you and being unsafe. That's why I have a one-rein stop. I'll use it as my safety brake. I try really hard not to pull on my horse's head, but I am telling you, if he won't stop, I will do a one-rein stop. It's pointless if the horse is really hard. I hear people say, the horse is hard in my mouth and I can't stop him. If you're pulling on the reins and he's pulling back, you're never going to win that battle. You have to stop what you're doing because it's not working and find another way to do it. The best way to do it is teach the one-rein stop, and if the horse won't listen to your normal rein aid when you're riding, this one here and your body, do a one-rein stop. You need to explain to him, this is what, when I do this, I actually want you to stop. The other thing I'd like to just tell you, if you're working in an arena environment or even actually out in a paddock, which I've done before when they've taken off on me, if a horse won't stop, circles are the way to go. So down the long side, you might only do, if I've got a horse that's rushing, I might only do 4 steps on the long side, and then I turn onto the circle line because it slows the horse down. Okay, so if the horse is rushing, smaller circles, all right? If you won't go forward, you actually send them off on long straight lines. That all helps the horse. Don't forget to check the description for my free guide to the 3 principles I use when I train my horses. It's free, they're really simple, and they will help you understand how to train your horse. If you like what you've seen today, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. I put them out every Friday. Thanks.